Hello and welcome, and the first thing we're going to do in this video is improving our locomotion. Firstly, as you can see, I've got all these crouching animations. I'm going to set them all to original and 0 offsets, and also root transform rotation and root transform Y, and the center mask to original as well. Select the rest and make them original as well. So now we actually want to get the effect to be in there, so we're going to apply some offsets. First, for walking backwards, as you can see, walking backwards left needs a -45. And walking backwards right can go with 45. So that's going to be that. And sneaking left and right don't need anything, I think. They're going good. Walking forward, that's no problem. And idle is the same. Next, we have the running animations. We're going to have to change some settings in this as well. So I'm going to select all of them to original with 0 offsets. 0 original. And this one as well. It's also 0. And also going to bake into pose on the root transform Y and root transform rotation. And all of them will be original, everything original, and everything 0, the offsets, and bake transform Y as the up and down height and the rotation. On the offset, the backward left, we're going to put -45, and the backward right, -45 and 45. So for the next, we have the walking. Similar thing we have to do with that one as well. Now for the walking backwards left and backwards right, we'll have to change some things. First, let's see this. Yeah, here it is. So -45 and 45 as the offsets. Now, next we will let's get out of this thing. Let's come and find the animator controller. And over here, as you can see, we've got multiple states like crouching, we've got walking, we've got the running. So let me just select one of the models that actually shows something. And if you try this out, as you can see that he's walking that way and with a weapon in his right hand. That will not look good, as you can see. So we're gonna actually have to flip the animation manually. We're gonna first of all not mirror that, of course, that is just gonna change the direction. We'll duplicate it and make one called left strafe, normal walking, and the other one just make it O so it stops conflicting. And what we're gonna do is just gonna reverse all the keyframes of that, or right strafe walking. If we reverse that, it's gonna stay in the same pose, but just gonna do everything in the opposite direction. So I'm just gonna do it again because I lost control about it. Here we have it, and if I select one of these keys, there's no real shortcut to flip it though, which is, I would say, like a feature that we should have. But anyway, you can still do it manually. So as you can see, I'm going to drag this out to the double of the size of this clip. So 124 as the clip size is 62. The next one's going to come to 123. And the other one can go to the 122, 121, 120, and so on. So I'm just going to do these quite quickly as I'm speed up the video. And actually, just one note, quick notes, basically, that you don't need to do this right now. At the end of the video, rather in the next video, we will make a simple script that will do this for us. It's gonna reverse it. It's gonna be much better because right now you'll see that these manually done ones are not so smooth. They're not nice because they still have some jerks which are not good. Now I think that's because of the curves that this animation is made of, and reversing them maybe don't take effect. I don't know. You can see how it's not so good. You'll see that in play mode when we again go in play mode after we flip the other one. But don't worry. So if you just leave this like this and don't change anything, in the next video we're going to make the script so you can actually use that instead to flip your animations, as I'm going to show you in the next video to do that as well. Alright, so anyway, we're just going to duplicate the walking and make it walking forward left so that we actually have a walking forward left. It's going to have an offset of 45, so it's walking forward left. You can follow this though because we will need this at that time in the next part. Anyway, we don't need anything for this side because this side is anyway okay. It's anyway blending properly. So we've got the blend tree looking pretty good. Just gonna get out of this and go back to the base layer, and let's see which one is useless. So I think that we have quite a few useless clips. This one here, this one I think. Yes, now time for the running. If you come over here, we need a running forward left, an offset of 45, so it actually makes it go forward left. Perfect. Once that's done, I'm going to well, we already flipped the animation. No, we haven't, right? So I'm just going to duplicate this and flip it again manually. Again, you don't need to follow this. You can wait for the next video. And in that part, we can actually write a script that will do this perfectly for us. It's going to be super smooth, so don't worry. But still, I'm just showing it. So I'm just going to speed this up a bit, so I don't bore you through this. Okay, done with it, almost. Cool, so now just right the edge. And we got a flipped version of the original, which is actually the right strafe and just named left strafe. Anyway, we can also position the animation clips correctly. That's important, otherwise your foot will come some time later and it's gonna actually get the wrong foot. Register the wrong foot stepwise. So anyway, let's go ahead and assign the left strafe, and as you can see, he's running backwards in that direction, and it's all working pretty fine, I think. Now we have got the crouching, so I think the crouching is pretty okay because it's got basically the person does not twist his body towards that direction, instead he just walks sideways. Now we're going to create a custom script to be able to copy and paste blend trees, because we're not going to make a complete new state, so we have to create a new state actually. But inside that, the blend trees we're going to paste. So how we can do that is going to create a simple script. First, I'm going to create a folder named editor, and I'll create a script. The script's name is going to be blend tree copy paste. And in this script, basically, thanks to somebody on the forum, I found this. It's quite useful. It did have a few problems. So somebody actually fixed those problems, and he's given it available. So I'm just going to use that. So how we start by defining a const string. It's called the worked dir, the directory. That's going to be assets slash editor slash animation to blend tree copy paste slash. So that's where this file is going to create a temporary file will be stored there. And we also have a string file name, a depth, a tree path, a log. We also need a static blend tree, which is tree equal null, a public class for pair. I'm going to use t1, t2. Said we define two of these. One is t1 and the other one actually is t2. So if you say first equals first, we need to make this smaller. It's giving an error because I did not make that t2, so now it's t2. Next, we'll define a static void make work directory if it doesn't exist. String path is assets, while split work dir.split split with slash. And then we're gonna do a for loop int I equal 1, I is smaller than split.length, I plus plus. We're gonna get the string p, the new path, and we'll use that as well. Then we'll check if the asset database dot is valid folder. We're gonna add that not sign. If so, we're just going to asset.create folder and then path equals new path. We also need a new function, static void clear console, while log entries equals system.guide.get type. And I think this is just some code that's gonna remove the log or clear it, So as you can see, it's gonna log entries.get method clear, and then we just invoke the actual method. We'll define public static bool is blend tree. I'm gonna take in a child motion. I'm gonna try with this var tree type equal motion as blend tree dot blend type, and then we're just gonna edit catch return false, otherwise return true. So that's pretty simple. A static blend tree get blend tree from selection. Just gonna define a simple blend tree, and that's gonna be basically got from the selection of active object as blend tree. And then we check if it's null, then we'll try to get it again as animator state instead as blend tree return v2. And anyway, then we have a got log path, which actually returns application.datapath.substring. This is going to get the log path, I suppose. Next, we just define a menu item, and this is going to be underneath anim tools, blend tree, and copy tree. Static void copy blend tree, int not copied is equal to 0, get selected blend trees. Blend tree actually. So as you can see, we're going to check if we have that. BT equal null. Debug.log error, no selected blend tree. Copy the directory, make work directory doesn't exist, and we're going to set the log to nothing, depth to -1, tree path to bt copy. And copy tree recursive is a function we're going to define. And also we need to clear the console. We also want to then write all text to get log path, log debug.log blend tree completed, copied rather. And also this child blend tree is not copied, just letting the user know if we have any not copied blend trees. Right, then we can say public static void, and we can say copy tree recursive. We can take in the blend tree t in iChild. string old path equal to tree path plus equals depth dot toString plus a comma plus iChild to string plus dash. Then we're gonna save the motions, basically blend tree t clone, instantiate the blend tree, passing in t, and the f path. So this is basically works here plus file name. I think it's the final path. So anyway, then it's gonna create the asset, as you can see, the t clone. Then we can just log plus equals f path plus slash n backward slash rather save children recursive depth plus plus for loop, and then if is blend tree, we're gonna check by passing in children, and we're gonna copy the tree recursive. So depth minus minus tree path. Yep. Now we just have another one which is for pasting. Then another menu item. It's a static void paste blend tree. We'll do a try blend tree bt equal to use tree equal to no. Otherwise we get blend tree from selection use tree. While lines equal system.read all lines get log path list of blend trees to trees a new list. We're gonna do a for loop in the lines dot length and set the string L to the lines at I dot substring and some stuff L dot substring, and it's going to check the length and add a dash dot asset. Actually, we need another for loop before it, and that's also a similar for loop, but it's actually the same, but it has a 0 instead, and we do trees dot add database load asset at path and lines at 1. And the rest of the code you can see what's going on. Var int a, and we just pass it from split 0, and int b is a similar one. Now we need to do the paste blend tree settings. We're gonna pass in bt and trees at 0, clear the console and debug.log blend tree pasted. Otherwise we're just gonna say blend tree dash error pasting. Now I'm just gonna define a public static void blend tree bt blend tree paste. I'm just gonna set everything of that one. As you can see, bt blend type, and pretty simple. The y parameter, and also a clone we need because that's actually problematic otherwise. So that's pretty much done. Now we're gonna make the motion all in one state using our new copy thingy, because it's very useful, as you can see, copy tree and stuff. So when we come over here, and inside this movement, we create a new float parameter first. It's called standing value, and use that instead. We're gonna route this to a new blend tree. It's gonna be one-dimensional, the movement blend tree, and then we can find 2 more blend trees inside it. So the crouching and the standing. So the standing value is based on that. So crouching would be 0 and standing would be 1. So 1 means standing, crouching. So by default I would set to 1, as you can see. Now inside the standing, we're gonna basically inside standing, we're gonna make a new blend tree whose name is walking. Similarly, another blend tree for running. Now for crouching, I think we don't need any child blend trees at the moment. I'm gonna copy the running tree. I'm going to go over here to the running and place the tree. As you can see, it worked, and we actually have an exact copy of that here. And I'm going to do a similar thing for the walk, copy the tree. And as you can see, it's actually storing everything temporarily there. We can delete that anyway later on. I'm going to paste this in here, in the walking, so that we don't have to do it all again. Copy the crouching state as well, and we can also paste that. So perfect. Now we just have a big blend tree, which actually works for as we want. This is going to clean up our states and everything really a lot, and I'm a very I hate messy animators, so I love to make them really neat. And blend trees are also very good for this job, as they support nested blend trees. As you can see, I'm going to be using standing value in this case, but I'm going to define a new parameter. This parameter's name is going to be walk or run. So this is going to be choosing between walking or running, and so the standing state is going to choose that. So as you can see, if walk or run is 0, then it's going to be walking. Otherwise 1 would mean running, so that's cool. Exactly what we want. Yep. So everything seems okay right now. We also have to edit our script later though. So let's do that. Let's change our code to work with the new animator setup. First, we're going to go to the player controller. I'm just going to go to the handle anim function, And over here, we are going to comment out the is sprinting booleans and is crouching, is walking. All right. Now I'm going to define a header underneath the animator reference. And this is going to basically be animator parameters names. So over here, we can define the first one, string, velocity z, or rather move z parameter name. And it's set it to velocity z. Actually, it's velocity y, so it is velocity y. And I duplicate with x. Now I'm going to just make that up and down so it looks better. And instead of using velocity x and these hard-coded hash strings, we're going to use directly our variables. Now I'm going to define a new function. Obviously not define, I'm going to use it, play animator.setFloat. And we're going to set a float. So as you can see, we define a private float standing value 1. And we can set the standing value to method of lerp from the standing value. And we can also define a variable for the lerping speed. I'm going to set it to 10. It's going to be the anim lerping speed multiplied by time with the time. All right. In this, we're going to pass in the is crouching question. So if we are crouching, then we're going to pass in 0, otherwise 1, which is perfectly what we want. We'll define a new string standing value param name and set it to the duplicate, copy that and paste that there. That's the exact thing. Another string, walk or run, param name, and I'm going to come over here and just pick it up and paste it here. Cool. Now I'm going to use this to set the value. Another one will do. So we're going to say walk or run parameter and define a new float, walk or run, set it to 0. I'm going to set walk or run to method of the from walk and run at the same speed, but the value is slightly different. So we're going to say is walking. If that's so, then 0. Otherwise, we want 1, which is running. Then we just use that to set the float, and I'm going to drag this down to the movement float section. So if we save and come out, as you can see, we've got these params. Well, changing the space is a bit, I think this is not fixing. I don't think it actually works anymore. It just doesn't matter if you have a space or not. It still makes a space. Look, there's something wrong with it, you know? Anyway, we'll see what happens later. So now I'm going to the next thing now to is simplify the animator further, because it's not 100% simplified yet, and we've not made use of this movement state yet as well. So to do that, I'm going to duplicate the original animator, and as you can see, we've got some blend tree files here which are really irritating, but we'll ignore them for now. Instead, we're going to make a new animator controller by duplicating the original, call it the animator controller test. I'm going to select the player model and drag that one instead inside. Alright. Now we're going to start cleaning this up. Delete all these movement states and set this one as layer default, the movement state actual. As you can see, I think everything's working. Let me just have a look. Yep, locomotion is as normal as it was before. And we can run as well. We can also crouch, just like it was original, except that now we might actually have some more smooth stuff. And that's because we don't have any transition blend yet. So what we'll do is just reline this and just write 2 transitions out there into the movement. Is there going to be no exit times? And it's going to check if they're false. If the migrant is false, just get out. Let's have a look. Oh, so there's something wrong actually. This transition over here is using false. I should use true, and they both needs to have the has exit time also needs to close. Now if try again, still have some problems. Why? Actually, when I selected both the transitions, looks like it did not change. And that's because when you select 2, it actually comes in the transition section, so we're supposed to change that, and they don't work. So anyway, I'm just going to change that to true. Now we can see that it does work, and it's much better than what we originally had, which was kind of buggy. I remember when I was jumping directly on the stairs, it was causing some problems. Anyway, so now we're going to make a new script, basically add some code that will allow deletion of those files that we just saw that have appeared under the animator. We'll use a menu item with nmtool/blend tree/delete trees. So it's going to delete the selected trees. And as you can see, there's no function for that, but I'm going to define one, a list of blend trees BTS, which is equal to a function which we want got. And for each blend tree in BTS, we're going to destroy immediate and set it true, otherwise it will not allow you to destroy the asset. So in the function public static list blend tree get blend trees from selection, we're going to have a list of blend trees, and we set new for each object installation of objects. We're going to do the BT equal to objects as blend tree. If BT is not is equal to null, then we'll try to do it by animator state and set to object as animator state. And if that is state is not equal to null, then VT equals state dot motion as blend tree, and this remove return it. All right. Next, we're just going to use it now. So how do we use it? Well, we delete those useless files that have been formed over here. Firstly, I'm going to copy this and delete and paste it here. Actually, what did I do? Command Z. I don't need to do that. I did, and come on, what do I have to do then? Actually, I want to make use of the copy paste. It's not really working. Movement to delete. Alright, I'm just going to make a new one. That's going to help. Renaming it will not cause problem. So now I'm going to delete these by doing delete trees. As you can see, they've gone, but we have to press re-import on the animator, otherwise they will not completely disappear until we reload. So that's done. That's there. All the garbage is actually gone out. So we only have the useful stuff. And I'm just going to define this back into the original. You can see changing transition duration to 0.15. So the default is standing back. Now we transition back. So I'm going to clean up the following states and improve the code. First, we're going to start by creating a new state. The state is going to be named as in air, which means airborne or something like that. You could actually call that that. I'm going to add two motions. One is falling, or the jumping up, and falling idle. Alright, so we're going to blend between those two based on a new float whose name is in air. Now, in air is just going to be used as the parameter in this case. And jumping is 0 and falling idle is 1. You're not going to automate the thresholds because that might not cost what I want. Now, to clean up the actual animator, we're going to do any state to in air, and we'll check if jump was pressed. And we put it up there, and we're going to make a transition from the in air to this and in air back to this. Cool. Now there's some problem because in air has some issues, I suppose. I'm going to use the actual new one that we made, which is named movement. Not the old one. I will delete that one because that one has problems, as you can see. You know what happened when we deleted it? It lost its blend trees. But because we made a duplicate of it, that one does not actually hold those files, and that's good. Now we're going to just make two simple transitions here. And set the exit time to 0.85 and the transition to 0.15, and then disable exit time. The transition from any state is going to be basically 0.85 again and 0.15. I'm going to disable that. That has exit time. Now in our code, I'm going to define a private string in air param name and set it to in air. And next, we'll define a new float in air, set it to 0 by default. And then, well, we got some errors because we set it to in air. It's actually in air value instead, so set that like that. And I'm going to actually use a set float over here. I'm going to pass an in air and a value of 1. But in here, we instead pass in 0. And we're going to use the anim lerping speed. So by default, we'll keep on lerping to 0 from the original. Actually, we don't need to do this. This is a bit useless. Instead, we need to use the in-air value equal to math of lerp from itself to 0. Anim lerping times end of delta time. And up here, we're going to make this in-air value set to 1. Actually 0, and here we set to 1 because 1 is actually the falling idle, I think. Delete those, and now we have a very small animator which looks really nice. Much better. And this param name. So we test out some stuff. As you can see, jumping does work as expected. Yep. We have everything functioning at the moment. However, well, the in-air is actually being changed correctly as well. Yep. So if I keep jumping like that, everything should work. And if I look down, my max look limits take effect. I can shoot just like normal. Now, if I save my project and go back to play mode, and if you see, if I jump to this stair, it right away comes out of the transition, which is actually what we wanted. Before, I remember there was like some issue when I was jumping directly on the stairs because the height would come directly. Until then, the animation had not completed because of some problem. But now we're using blend trees and we're using direct transition to in-air, which is not separate transitions. So the movement, locomotion, everything is also okay. Now let's move to the next part of this video. Deleting some stuff and further clean improvements. So firstly, we're going to delete the useless animator over here. As you can see, it's old, so it's deleted. I'm going to delete the temporary folder that script made for us. I'm also going to go over here and remove these commented codes. I'm going to define a new section for locomotion floats actually. And as you can see, we are still using a bit of strings, which is not really perfect. We should have actually all fields. How we do that is going to go up there and define those. Actually, you already have for the in-air, and use the in-air param. Then for the weapon type and the is aiming and the near ground. So how that's going to be done is basically you can see over here we've got some useless parameters first of all to do that. Is aiming is actually useless, so we can delete that as well. That code is no longer needed because is aiming is not actually anymore part of our system. We've got a near ground parameter set to near ground and use that as the near ground string instead of the hard coded string. It's the near ground, not the jumping. For the weapon type, well, it's also a string. We'll change that. Firstly, let me just see if it's even useful. As you can see over here, we have this weapon, which is the AWM. I'm going to disable the rifle holder, not the AWM. But I'll drag out a new weapon, and it's going to be pistol holder. Drag it on top so it finds that gun instead. I'm going to use the... Oh, I just want to prevent errors, so I'm just going to pass in a normal shell eject effect. And this is a problem because we changed our system, but we not change the values of these. So to change these, it's going to change those like that. Yep, so the pistol is actually playing a different animation, and that's literally all we came to see originally. But if you notice, the soy is also much better on this. Actually, just the values that I've tweaked. Not really tweaked, they're just the same, except that the pivot might be better. Here I've got the aiming idle and the pistol idle and the blend tree, which is actually correctly set up here, as you can see. 1 for pistol idle and 0 for aiming idle, and it's being set by the script. Another thing is the head aim break. If I set to 0, you can see it's looking somewhere else, so I have to keep that up to 1. But actually, I can disable Z and X because the animation will override that to actually put something better. Also, the offset to 0. Now you can see it's much better, and we don't need to use the rig to be constrained actually to do that. And I'm going to change the weapon position offset to -0.15 to make it look more realistic. Actually, it looks like it's way behind as well, so I would like to push it ahead a bit. So I'm going to use the height offset, or the z-axis to 0.2 and the x-axis to -0.12. So now it looks much better. So that's pretty much for this weapon. As you can see, the shoot trigger is just stuck in one state, but that doesn't really matter to us because we don't have anything to do with that in this animator. As you can see, the weapon type is being overridden by script. Let's save the project and come over here and just improve some stuff then. So first we'll define a string for the weapon type param name, and we'll use that instead of this hard-coded thingy. Anyway, before we do that, we can define a float weapon type value, and instead of setting the thing directly, we're gonna set the weapon type value to a math after alert from its original to the same speed as all others, but using this statement. And we'll pass in weapon type value, and this thing can actually go above as the weapon values, which is gonna do exactly what we want in floats. Now if I come back here and let's wait for it to load, then we can see that we don't use the variable yet. Let's just use it, and it's gonna load again. And there you are. So we should actually be using those params, and let's just put these 3 states so that it looks more neat. And our animator actually looks pretty small. There's got a lot of stuff going on in there. Let's just delete some useless params. And thankfully, if you delete one which is not that, like the one which is being used, Unity will just give you like a pop-up. So I knew that they were all deletable because they were useless. Because when I was deleting them, they were not giving anything. Anyway, let's just go back to script and define a string jump parameter name. And use that when we are supposed to trigger the jump. Once that's done, we can again save and get out of this place. Let's just close these down. If you see the reloading area, we're not using that reload trigger anymore, which is because we have IK based reloading, so we can delete that trigger as well. And we can delete that reloading animation also inside the upper body there. I mean, reloading state it would never go in there, so it's useless. Now we've got a pretty nice and neat animator with multi floats and blend trees. As you will see, everything should work just like original as well, but a bit better smoothing maybe. And of course, the heating is working as well. But you see my person is doing the same IK stuff. It's all working as well. No problems with that. And actually, this muzzle flash is way behind. I would rather put this somewhere here. So I'm going to set this to 1. And I'm just going to copy that then. So right click, copy, and position. Just going to paste it out of play mode so it saves and apply the prefab. And there's nothing to apply, I think, for this. Instead, we need to create like a shell eject for this one. We go into our window, and I'm going to assign the mesh transform and pass in this assets cartridge effect and create one. Now I'm going to well, position this. I don't know why it's so out of its senses. Something's wrong with it. The actual effect is not coming, maybe. Actually, you need to have a uniform scale or something. I don't know. Let's see what happens if I put this object. If I keep this object like uniform, if I drag this to the child, well, actually I already have made one. And what you do is you delete that. Just set the scale to 1 by 1 by 1, and the particle system doesn't really care about anything else. That's why it works. Apply that and apply everything else, and you can see the pistol is now actually it was already might be doing it, but I did not assign it, so it wasn't doing it. Anyway, this is the end of this video, and see you in the next one. Subscribe, like, share, and join the Discord. The link in the description.